So the next important part that we need to cover are useful Excel functions that help us to further summarize or navigate our way through data in a very quick and efficient way. So let's say we were given a share price history, and that dated back a couple of years, and it had the average share price, a minimum to maximum range, the volume bought, a share code, and a transaction number. And let's assume that this is a really big data set. Let's see how we'd extract the following information. Question 1. Find the total value of ZAR transactions, or South African Rand transactions, using the average share price and the volume traded. So find the total value of South African Rand transactions. So if we didn't know any better, we could select all of the South African Rand transactions, one by one, copy, and paste it into a new table where we could then take average price times by quantity, and we could find the information that we're required to find. But this opens us up to a lot of errors, and it could take a long time, especially if this data set was very big. So we need a more efficient way to calculate this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a new column here, and I'm going to call this price times quantity, and calculate the average price times volume bought for each of these share codes. But the question specifically asked me to find ZAR transactions. So the price times quantity, I'm only going to add up for ZAR transactions. And this is best done using a SumIf function. So my range is going to be this column here. And in that range, I'm going to look for a criteria that matches the word ZAR. I have to put it in inverted commas because it's a text string. And the actual numbers that I'm interested in summing is this column over here. And that gives me my value of 1.2 million Rand worth of transactions in ZAR. The next question is to find the average minimum price of shares, traded in Japanese yen. Okay, so minimum price is this one. I need to find the average of all of these minimum prices traded in yen. So a useful formula would be to use an AverageIf formula. And again, my range would be the individual column that has the specific criteria that I'm looking for. In this case, it's Japanese yen. And again, I put that in inverted commas because it is a text string. And then the average I want is the minimum price. So it's just make sure that your ranges match. So I have to include that first line as well. And the average minimum price traded in yen is 1.085. Okay. What is the total number of US dollar transactions? Now you could count these individually. Okay, US dollar 1, 2. But if this is a very bulky data set, that could take a very long time. So I'm going to use a CountIf function for that. And my range again is this share code. And the criteria, inverted commas, USD. And it tells me that I have 14 transactions in US dollars. The next question is to find the average share price 17 months from the 1st of May 2016. So the 1st of May 2016 is here. And what I could do is I could count 17 rows down, okay? But what if they asked me to find the 170th month after the 1st of May, and it was a very big data set? The more efficient way to do this would be to use an offset function. An offset, you give the offset function your starting point, and you tell it to move a certain number of rows down if it's a positive value for rows. And I wanted 17 months. My data is in months. So it's going to go 17 months down. And you can tell it to move a certain number of columns to the left or to the right. If it's a positive number for columns, it's going to move to the right. And I wanted to find the average price. So it's only going to move one column to the right. And the other two arguments are irrelevant in this case. So it's going to find the 17th transaction from the 1st of May, 1.3415. Let's see if that's the case. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yep, 1.34. And so we've got there. Okay. The last question. The share code and transaction number can be combined to form a unique transaction code. Populate the table with this new transaction code. Okay, so it says the share code and transaction number can be combined to form a unique code. So if we want to do it the long way, what we could do is we could copy the text from this column, put it there, copy the text from this column, select this column, put a hyphen, and then paste the values and do that for each row. But that's very cumbersome. What we can instead do is we can use a very useful function called concatenate. So I'm just going to populate this row with hyphens, or this column with hyphens. Okay. And what concatenate does is it just joins specific text strings. So this is text number 1. I then want a hyphen, and then I want text number 3. It doesn't matter which order the texts are originally arranged in, just as long as the order in your formula is correct. And there we have my transaction code. Voila. Okay. So these are very useful formulae for sorting through and summarizing bulky data, and they will help you tremendously.